Pegasus Choir, under their conductor Les Davis, meets regularly once a week at the Coryton Institute. This section, although not very large, can boast that they have won first prize at every competition they have entered. We will take their invitation and come, if not to the fair, to the South End Carnival, where we find the Pegasus float, with many familiar figures aboard, preparing for the procession. This year they chose an Olympic theme, as witnessed by the flame at the rear. I am sure they were the only float with both fire and water aboard. The float is entirely the work of the members, the girls making their own costumes, and the lads helping with the more strenuous work. Their hard work has given them a number of successes, including a first at Basden Carnival, another first at Barking, and later a first in the Illuminated Carnival at Southend, and a second at the Burnham Illuminated Carnival. The procession has its usual variety of themes, both ancient and modern, and is up to the usual high standard. Whilst the procession is passing, let us consider what the Pegasus Club has to offer. The employee of the company may become a member at the very reasonable figure of £6 a week. This entitles you to take part in any of the club's activities. It is then only necessary to contact the secretary of the section you are interested in so that he can keep you in touch with what is going on. Thanks to a generous subsidy from the company, it is possible for you to take part in activities that might otherwise be too expensive. The club holds much equipment, and you can take part in many activities at no charge at all. Let us leave the procession and proceed to the sports field at Herd Lane, undoubtedly the club's greatest asset. To the left of the pavilion will stand the clubhouse. The ground is surrounded by large banks which give excellent vantage points for spectators. Behind the cricket pitch is the football field, and behind that again is the 2-2 open-air rifle range. To complete the picture, the old church at Fobbing overlooks the whole scene. What finer setting to a field could any club have? The groundsmen have put much time and effort into the bowling green, and it is now in perfect condition. The tennis section are indeed fortunate in having such excellent facilities. Let's go along and see some of them in action. This section is a member of the Basden Tennis League, and this year beat all comers to become league champions. As well as many friendly and practice games, other matches are played against local companies. Let us watch some of our experts show us how it's done. Behind the tennis courts lies the bowling green, where we find some of the stalwarts preparing. Apart from friendlies like this, the section has entered for the local knockout competition known as the Ambrose Shield between Thurrock bowling clubs. This year they were fortunate enough to reach the semi-finals, a great achievement considering the strength of the opposition. You can see how well the green has improved. All home matches will of course be played here, and the green should be equal to any in the county. Anyone who thinks that bowls is rather a dull game should come along and try his hand. He will be made very welcome, and will soon find out that there are many less exciting things to do than trying to take the shot from the opposition with the last wood of the end, and will soon find himself running down the green giving verbal encouragement to his wood with the best of them. We leave them sorting out one end with a tape measure and pass to something more energetic. This is the first year the cricket section has had full use of the Herd Lane pitch, and everyone comments on how good it is. Cricket is of course quite a spectator's game, and wives and families are more than welcome to come along to see Dad performing. There are 2 11s playing regularly each weekend against the local clubs and companies, and in addition they play in a knockout competition with other parts of the company. This year they reached the final with Midland Division. Another major activity is the organisation of the interdepartmental games, won this year by TSL. From a summer sport, we pass to a winter one. This match against Ilford proved to be most exciting. This section, under the genial guidance of Fred Patman and Gufty Barnes, field 2 11s each week in the Basildon League. As you can see, we gave Ilford something to think about, although it certainly wasn't one-sided. Another activity, not yet taking place at Herd Lane, is mixed hockey. As soon as suitable changing accommodation is available, however, no doubt we shall be seeing home matches here instead of at Stamford Recreation Ground as at present. Football, darts, cards and other activities take place every lunchtime in the refinery, organised by the Lunchtime Facilities Committee, the club financing all the necessary equipment. what an ideal way to spend a quiet afternoon with the children. To keep a ground of this size in order, one needs a staff of groundsmen. Hard at work as usual is our head groundsman, Mr. Hudson, who, as we have seen, is doing a really fine job. At the bottom of the field, under the warning flag, we find some members of the 2-2 Rifle Section. The section is affiliated to the National Small Bore Rifle Association, and a number of members have gained the distinction of becoming world master shots. The association sends targets to the club, which are shot at from the appropriate distances, and are then returned to be judged by a panel of experts. The section works in conjunction with the Shell Club, who are kind enough to allow us to use their indoor range, and we in turn lend them our outdoor one. Now we turn from the somewhat leisurely pace of target shooting to the somewhat faster one of clay pigeon shooting. This section meets on the marshes at intervals during the close season for game shooting. Whether you're an expert or a beginner, you will be equally welcome, and instruction will be given where necessary. The youngsters seem to be enjoying themselves equally as much as their parents. Clay pigeon shooting can be a very expensive sport due to the high cost of cartridges and clays. However, a generous subsidy from the club puts what could be a rich man's sport within the reach of all. Let us turn to something a little quieter. This section holds regular meetings both here and at Gray's using Stableford scoring. In addition to our stalwarts playing a match, we find Jim Wood from the TSL having a game with some friends. Back to the clubhouse now, where we find Alan Pyra trying hard to sink his last putt. From outdoor sports, we pass to indoor ones. At the Woodland School, Basildon, we find Peter Mulcahy warming up for her session of badminton. While he continues, let us remember the judo section, who hold their meetings at the Hassenbrook School, Stanford. This section is affiliated to the British Judo Association and the Budokwai, and holds its meetings twice a week, one for beginners and another for the more expert. Tuition is always available and gladly given. But to return to badminton. This section has some very keen members, who after more practice are hoping to expand their activities by joining the local league. New members, particularly ladies, will be most welcome. From badminton, we turn our attention to the Palace Hotel Southend, where the squash section hold their meetings. Meetings are held twice a week and are very well attended. This is an extremely fast game, ideal for those who have to sit at a desk all day. More running, this time members of the swimming section catching the bus at Stamford, which will take them to the Hornchurch Baths. This popular sport is always well attended, and the organisers can always depend on a coachload of supporters. Providing they are accompanied by an adult, members' children are most welcome to come along. Although the cameraman had difficulty with the lighting, these shots show that everyone enjoyed themselves. From fun in the water, we pass to more fun on the water. With their headquarters at the jetty on the marsh, we see some of the members of the sailing section, headed by Dave Thomas, preparing for a race. This section is affiliated to the Leigh-on-Sea Yacht Club and enter for many events of this type during the summer months. Here are two of the section's 3 dinghies, handmade, built by members, and trauma. As there was very little wind on this occasion, the 2 boats had to suffer the indignity of being towed to the starting line, where fortunately there was more wind. The course lay across the Thames nearly to the Kent coast, up the river a little, and then back to Holehaven. During the race, the boats went across the main shipping channels, and many large vessels were seen, including this Big Brother cruising along. We were not fortunate enough on this occasion to see the Pegasus Angler, the motorboat owned by the angling section. This section has great appeal to those whose idea of enjoyment is a quiet cruise down the river, followed by some equally quiet deep sea fishing. Although it has been said that their tranquility has been upset by engine trouble on at least one memorable occasion. But that's another story. As we watch Handmaid rounding the buoy that acted as course marker, we leave racing on water and return to dry land, where we find the motor section preparing for the start of one of their rallies. This rally was organised by Jeff Wiseman, who is kept very busy getting people away on time. You will have noticed that these events are popular with wives and families, and are in fact purposely arranged so that they all enjoy themselves, even if it's only seeing some of the more out-of-the-way parts of Essex. We arrive at the first checkpoint to find Jeff has got ahead of the field and is waiting for them to come in. Soon the others arrive, some right on time and the others not so far behind. These events are designed to give equal chance of winning to the expert with the load of badges or to the owner of the pre-war banger. The next stop was for tea at a village with this ominous name. Sure enough, the heavens opened while everyone was eating. The sun came out later though, and by the time the finishing point was reached, it was fine again. We leave Jeff, trying to explain why he gave a reference for this point in the middle of Wickford, and take a final look at some of the sections we have seen. All this is available to you for only £6 a week. If you are not already a member, why not join now?